Hello, so there's a new patch and it looks absolutely crazy. It will come out the 1st of February and there's some experimental features that will be in the game for 3 weeks, and after that they will decide if they keep them or not. First, let's go over the balance changes, and then after that we will see the experimental features. So I think the current balance, I think sledgehammers are way too strong. Overlord might be a little bit too strong, hard to say, and War Factory as well. And the Scorpion is definitely too weak. And they have addressed some of them, like the first change is a melting point. The crawler production is nerfed. It's a good change in my opinion. The crawler production is crazy good technology, and massing melting points is a strong strategy in some situations. But I don't think that's an issue at hand here. I was kinda hoping the Scorpion would get some changes to his technologies and not just the stat changes, but I guess everything helps. I think buffing the Scorpion could be like a big key of balancing this game right now, because I think sledgehammers and war factories are a bit too strong, and changing the Scorpion a little bit will help in that regard, because Scorpion counters both of those units. I'm a bit underwhelmed about the balance changes. I was kinda hoping something big will come, but I guess we'll have to wait. The equipment's enhancement module is adjusted from level 2 to level 3, so that also means the cost. So the cost was 50 previously, now it's 100. And now you can't get the enhancement module on round 2, but you can get it on round 3. It's a pretty good change, I think. Some people don't like the enhancement module. I personally think it's an item that requires the most amount of skill in this game, and it's really important to keep that kind of aspect in this game, I think. It's almost impossible to play the enhancement module 100% correct, because it improves your economy, so it's really hard to know what kind of composition you should build, because you have more money than usual, and it's pretty hard round to round to know if it's correct to sell a unit and profit from it, or is it correct to just level it for free and keep the unit for tempo. And when you are selling a unit, you need to buy something else, so you have the option to kind of redeploy giants with it as well, so you can kind of move the position of your forces in the map, and I think that requires a lot of skill. But the change, I think it's pretty good, because I think it was pretty frustrating on round 2. Sometimes it happened that both of the enemy guys, the 200 cost units, level, and yours did not, and then comes enhancement module. It's a kinda crazy power spike. But now on level 3, I think you are playing a little bit wrong if your units haven't leveled to level 2 on round 3. But the cost change can be pretty awkward sometimes if the enemy has levels available and you do not. The enemy can just auto-pick the module, and it's kinda hard for you to pick it because it costs so much. So that's kind of strange now. It was a big auto pick for me, the enhancement module. It was so strong, but is it a bad design? I don't think so. Like, if there was a top supply specialist in the game that costs 0, it basically mean everyone will pick it 100% of the time. But is it bad? Because it changes the conditions of the game. Both players just need to adapt it. I think it makes for an interesting match. But sure, it kinda negates the card choices, because the 3 other cards are completely useless in the card picking screen. Then the new item, absorption module, increases the unit's HP by 30% and converts 90% of the damage dealt to HP. I think it was 50 or 60 last patch, right? and now it got a HP buff, like the technologies on melting points and steel balls. And this will make the item a lot better, so I think it will be a good item on most units, especially on the ones that it was already strong on, like steel balls and melting points. Maybe it's now good on like overlords and stuff like that. Probably like sledgehammers also. Then the experimental features. The first one is random free units. So I guess there is I don't know, because the patch hasn't been published yet. I can't go and test it. It's just I'm reading the same notes as you guys are. So I guess it's a different screen where sometimes in the game you can pick one of 3 unit packs for free. And then the player base health has been increased. Like these kind of changes I think are really fun, and I think lots of casual players will love them. But this is the kind of stuff that I personally don't want to see in a competitive game. So like it increases the variance by a lot, and it's one of the reasons I like this game so much, is that it's pretty skill based with low amount of RNG. So I hope they will test this in the ladder, and in the future they will introduce different game modes where you can customize different stuff, like more fun modes and stuff like that. It could be really cool. But I really don't want to see stuff like this in a high MMR ladder. And same as the duplicate reinforcement cards. So now you can get multiple times the same item, same card, and it will be interesting. You can get some crazy combos with it. 3 units, and imagine having 4 senior manufacturing specialists, or junior manufacturing specialists, or round 2 subsidized marksman, round 3 subsidized marksman. Then you just go marksmans with shooting squad and assault mode. Fun things to come. But yeah, I don't like these changes to be in the competitive game like this. But cool stuff anyway. Then the most interesting one here is the changing of deployment zone on round 1. So I guess it's smaller on the aggro side, maybe on the sides even. So you can't be that aggressive with your first deployment. I really have to see how much smaller it is to properly evaluate this, but my first reaction is that this is like a really bad change. But it could be also that it doesn't affect much. People just need to learn a little bit more aggressive placement styles. You can't do the same stuff you have been doing for the past months. Probably the biggest thing in aggressive play is that if you can't deploy chaff on the line anymore, you need to always put the chaff behind on round 1, and then on round 2 you can put chaff in front to the line. So that could be interesting, that the aggression in the first rounds is better defended, because the enemy knows you need to build chaff there. Or if you don't, he can maybe missile your stuff early on if it makes sense for him. This could prevent some units, snowballing of some units. Like I think it is pretty stupid if you do like a steel ball push round 1, then you get a level on your steel balls instantly, then you find some crazy item on round 2 like a portable shield. It snowballs super hard. So maybe changes like this prevent that from happening. But it's certainly a nerf for aggro game, and it doesn't affect anything else. Which is also kind of weird, because I feel like there's a lot of good defensive units in the game, like Sledgehammer and Vulcan. maybe in low MMR games the aggro plays are too strong because people don't know how to respond to them, but in higher ranks the aggro plays like a lot more difficult to pull off than just being defensive. This game has a lot of inherent stuff that favors defensive player, like shields, missiles, all the cards basically, or like 80% of the cards. The only benefit for the aggro player is on the first rounds when half of the enemy army is deployed on the second tower, but it will stabilize in the mid game because you can actually attack the aggressor's tower with the units you have on the second tower. But all in all, I think very, very interesting patch. All the balance adjustments were good, although I hoped a lot more of them, but we will have to wait. And the experimental features, like, I don't personally like them, but I feel they could be really good for the game's future if they can figure out right now how people will respond to them. I for sure think this game is a bit too stressful and competitive some of the time, so I would imagine the game would do a lot better if there were more fun modes or more variance in some situations. But I personally want it to be a different mode than the normal ladder system. I might do another update video once I see the changes, but let's see tomorrow how big the deployment zone change is, for example. Thanks for watching.